They say it is very important that when you are having a team of yourself, you're leading an organization or you're leading a department, um, there are many aspects which goes inside the mind of your subordinates. The way you look into a situation, whether it's for a collaboration, whether it's for the new targets, whether it's for the sales, how to handle the clients, how to handle the escalations, while you are going through all this, contemplating, planning about it all by yourself, I would suggest when you are that leader to include your team members and your subordinates who would be actually facing those scenarios. Like for the sales target, you need to include the salespeople who goes into the market, who meets the customer, who knows what the customers are demanding, and so on. Similarly, for handling escalations, no other department other than customer support can be the best people to include in your decision making. So what happens is not only they feel connected to the real scenario of the organization, they also feel their feedback being valued. So how to include the team members, the subordinates into your decision making process? The first and the foremost and the best procedure is a team huddle. A team huddle or a team meet. Now, as to what is the time frame within when you need to have a team meeting, whether it's going to be scheduled as per the requirement of the operations, or is it to be scheduled for every week or every month or twice a month, or for 1 quarter or so on. This has to be decided depending on the kind of product that you are dealing, the kind of operations that you are into, and the kind of escalations which are prevailing into the market. Now, there are many production which takes a long time, within which there are many steps to be followed. For those kind of production, a quick team huddle every week is something that is recommended to keep the manager, to keep the production site supervisor, to keep yourself, and to keep every team member on the same page. Because when the process takes a long time to get this product done, there are various steps involved, and every steps involved throws back some kind of challenges which, if not solved at the basic level, might escalate into a way wherein it might do a kind of snowballing and might get into a bigger kind of the problem in itself. So what is generally recommended is, when the process is lengthy, you need to have short meetings in frequent durations. Like every let's say every week or every 2 days or every 5 days, because maybe a procedure takes 5 days or 7 days to show you any result. Within which, if you conduct a meeting, that will not be very beneficial. Whereas if you are conducting a meeting, once one stage is getting completed, or it is throwing back any kind of challenges, or it is showing any kind of deviation, a meeting instantly might solve the problem on the very basic level. Whereas there are problems on the day-to-day basis, like the escalations, when you're dealing with technical products, technical appliances which are being used by the clients, softwares also, not only about the hardwares I'm talking about, even softwares which are being used 24 by 7. In those kind of situations, you never know, things might go right today, when you are working today, but it might go wrong tomorrow. So in that situation, you cannot be waiting for that meeting day, like, okay, we will be having only meeting on the Thursdays or on the Fridays, and let's wait till we get back to that day. Now, if the problem is happening on Wednesday, it is not going to be any beneficial if you are conducting a meeting on basis of this challenge which is faced on Wednesday on Friday. So what happens is, if a challenge is faced, like let's say, if I draw experience reference from my technical career only. See, whenever we used to face a problem or any kind of escalation which might have triggered due to the usage of the application, immediate 10 minutes or 15 minutes meeting did give us great results, in the sense like, the person who was dealing the escalation, like they feel that the whole team is supporting them. Second thing is they have updated information to get back to the client, so the client delay is reduced. Also, the client feels that the people are working on it on a priority basis, and they feel very connected to the technical support department. They feels okay, this issue is being reported, and it's going to be taken care of. So they do not further escalate it to higher authorities, or it does not snowball into some kind of challenge which is not being able to solve at your department or at your level. Third thing is it builds up a team morale also, when everybody says that whenever there is an escalation, it might be that that particular support engineer is facing it, but when a meeting is done, and immediately everybody puts their input, and it is provided to that particular engineer. The particular engineer also feels that my team is standing for me. It's really literally trying to help me out, work with this client escalation. So I would also need to do the same when one of my team member faces any challenge. So what I have found in my last job is, and in my job with HP also, that when such kind of environment is practiced, like for instance in my last organization, I have found that everybody had solved some problem or other, so they were maintaining us kind of like a personal database, nothing very serious. Maybe they were having just those steps to perform on notepad or an excel sheet, and when we used to have a common mailbox wherein everybody was able to see what kind of mails the client has shot. So many times it used to happen that maybe that particular engineer is not working on that issue, but he says to the other team member, like, hey, you know what, the last day I asked the client to perform this steps, and this literally solved the problem. So in that case, what happens is, you know the other people shortens the escalation handling time. Like, if somebody is working on a different issue but still has the steps which actually literally solved similar kind of issue and shares it with the other team member, the team member can immediately go back to the client with the steps, and the client also feels like, wow, these people are on this, on my issue, because you need to understand the client also is reporting to somebody, right? So when they find a engineer coming to them immediately with some steps and with certain procedures to perform to solve the problem, they feel that they are being supported by a very supportive team members. That builds up a confidence for them to use the application, give the feedback, and work on the escalations. So when we talk about all this, we need to talk about how we are going to do it. So why do we conduct a meeting? Many a times, when I was in HP, my operation heads used to say, Sanjay, why don't you conduct frequent meetings? Now the thing is, I mentioned only one thing, like, sir, the thing is, I was reporting to Satish at that time. I remember I said, sir, Satish, the thing is, the team members are on all the issues, on all the escalations, and the thing are, they are working within themselves. They are forwarding the unresolved cases to the R&D department. They are communicating with other team leads. They are communicating with other teams. So the workflow is very smooth, right? Like it is like a very well oiled, well balanced watch which is showing the right time. So when the watch is showing the right time, why do I need to do a constant monitoring of that? The thing is, instead of conducting the meeting, we used to have a 5 minutes team huddle every day, wherein we used to only celebrate how last day one of the team members solved a very complicated case, and that literally helped in boosting up the morale of the team, because people used to look forward to the moment they come to the office. And you obviously understand, when you come to office, you need some time to go back to work, and pick up that flow and the thing. But with my team, I have seen it in HP, and I have seen it with my last organization, ARC also, that when people used to come to the team, to the floor, the first thing that used to happen was in HP, like we used to have a team huddle wherein we were discussing what went great with somebody the other day, and what was not so great with somebody the other day. So while we were discussing, celebrating what was great and how the customer has given us a CSAT, we were also discussing about the DSATs on that only. So it was on a very open platform, and the engineer or the technician never used to feel like, okay, I am now being questioned, or I am now being held responsible, or I am now being questioned for what I have not done. So they always felt it like a very interactive feedback session, wherein they said, oh, the other day, yesterday, this steps I performed, but it did not solve the problem. So you wouldn't believe, within the team only, somebody used to pop up and say, hey, along with these steps, the other day I performed this step also. So next time you face this problem, maybe you can put all these steps in the mail and send it to the client and do a follow-up call. We were in HP able to, we were able to get back to the clients, and clients who has given us a DSAT also, dissatisfaction marking also, and the technician used to give a call and say, sir, the other day what we did couldn't solve the problem. I apologize for that. But I found out, I did a bit of research, I found out a couple of other steps. So if it is okay right now, if it is the right time to work on it, I would ask you to work on this. If not, I have already sent you a mail. You wouldn't believe, a lot of DSAT customers used to again send us a mail like, hey, you guys know what, the other day I was completely pissed off, I was pretty angry because I had this important document to print, I had this meeting, the laptop did not work, the printer did not work, so I was literally very frustrated. So I took my heat, or I took my anger on you guys. I'm sorry about that. So is it possible that you send me a fresh survey, a link wherein I can share my feedback? You guys been very helpful. You wouldn't believe, in every day we used to do that, and the result was, at the end of the month, we were always able to get in more CSATs. Now with the CSATs happening, the customers used to feel that we were trying our level best. So in the team huddle, this kind of solutions used to pop up, and celebration of whatever good work has been done used to boost up the morale of the team greatly. I mean, in HP, we, honestly speaking, I was there for 3 years, but honestly, till today, I say that we were working on one of the most toughest shifts, which is the graveyard shift, because we were working with the US clients. The shift starts at midnight, almost at 2 o'clock, 2 a.m., and starts at 11 a.m. in the morning. It used to be a very difficult shift, but the thing is, the kind of energy that we had on the floor is all because we were practicing something which was the 5 minutes. We used to call the 5 minute, and the thing is, even we had a symbol for that. I mean, like the moment people used to come up on the floor, they used to show like this. So we used to understand like it's time for the 5 minute huddle, and it was very friendly huddle. It was very open, interactive huddle. 5 minutes. We used to be very short and to the point, and that literally boosted up the energy, that literally boosted up the moral support of the team, and we had better scores than any other team, and our customers dealing with us were pretty happy. So what is the importance of a meeting? The importance of a meeting is, I have understood throughout my career, that see, every team member, subordinates, they have an idea. They have, while they're working on situations, while they're working on their respective fields, they do develop a kind of perception, conviction, and they pick up some information. So a meeting is an open platform where subordinates can present their ideas, subordinates can exchange these viewpoints and exchange their feedbacks, and they can also pick up some solution, some feedback from others also. So meeting is basically an interactive session. It's never one way, like everybody has to participate. Now for that, that reminds me, in the ancient history, you wouldn't believe, Chanakya, while he was, guiding Emperor Samudragupta and others, he made it a point that everybody who attends, they used to call them as Mitras and Amatyas. The Amatyas, when they used to, they will attend a meeting, they need to be well prepared. They need to have the balances, they need to have the information, they need to have all the feedback what is happening in the kingdom when the king is conducting a meeting, because it is never that today he is going to be asked, one person is going to be asked, the other person is not. As the discussion flows, every amatyas or every ministers or every generals would be asked questions. And you wouldn't believe, in Arthashastra, Chanakya has also mentioned that if a amatya or if a general is found, he is not prepared. Like let's say, the person who's taking care of the revenue, right? Revenue collection of the kingdom. If the amatya who's looking into revenue collection comes to the meeting without being prepared, without having the facts and figures with him, well, the punishment used to be like the amatya has to pay 1/10 of what is due from the whole kingdom. And you wouldn't believe, generals and amatyas property were seized, their fees or remuneration, whatever they used to collect from the king as their remuneration, those were stopped until they gave the right facts and figures. So you see, 2000 2500 years ago, almost 3000 years ago, Chanakya has mentioned this in the ancient history of India. And this is not a verbal thing, this has been mentioned in Arthashastra. You can go and read about it also. So the thing is, as Bill Gates now reminds me, Bill Gates was asked, and he also mentioned it in his book, The Business by the Speed of Thought. That's a great book. You must read that book, Business at the Speed of Thought, in which Bill Gates mentioned that all those meetings which are well prepared, well informed, are good meetings and are productive meetings. Except, except being well prepared or well informed meeting, this is just a gathering. There is a difference between a meeting and a gathering. So, see, guys, the thing is, when we are conducting a meeting, you might be the organizer, you might be the participant, or you might be the invitee, or you might be the speaker, whatsoever. We might play a different role. Like if you're an organizer of a meeting, you need to remember to answer these four questions, like when, where, who, and what. Like, when is the meeting, where is the venue where it's going to be conducted, who's going to be presented, who's going to be the speaker, who's going to be the participants, who's going to be the presenter, so on. And what means, and those days it means, and in these days it means the agenda. A meeting which has a well laid, well framed agenda is a productive one, because you need to understand, ultimately the meeting is conducted for exchange of ideas to break the challenges or break the new market or incorporate new steps to win over new collaboratives, new markets, new sales strategies, new way of handling customer escalation and creating wow experience for the customer. So a meeting is not just there to as an excuse to have coffee. It's not your coffee break. It's not neither it's neither a meeting to have pizza. You can have the pizza, you can have the coffee, but the thing is, a meeting wherein you don't discuss anything productive, wherein you don't have an agenda, that meeting is, as Bill Gates has said, is just a gathering. And in office or in the corporate world, wherein today the time is such a expensive commodity, every minute counts, and we have to be productive, we have to be working. Under such circumstances, I don't believe that you literally have a time to do this kind of gathering wherein you don't have an agenda, you don't discuss anything productive, and you just have coffee and pizza and biscuit. It cannot be that way, right? So when a meeting is happening, you need to understand the meeting is happening for 1 hour, 15 minutes or whatsoever is during the productive hours of the organization. This is the time when you are being paid for being in the office. So when you are being paid and you are conducting the meeting, make sure it counts. Make sure you take all the opportunities to bring the best of the best topics to be discussed during the meeting, so that this can be solved, this can be worked upon, and you can go to greater heights for the sales. Like when you're having the sales meeting, the new targets, the new ways of convincing the customer, the new product features, the new product information has to be shared, so that the salespeople can go into the market and they can literally promote your product with that 100% convincing attitude, wherein they know about the product, they know about the need of the customer which it will solve, they know about the benefits of the product, they know about the kind of support the customers can expect when they have that product. So similar thing is when you are having the meeting with the escalation team who are handling the client escalation, you need to understand these are the people who are joining your meeting, leaving the client's call or the client's email line, and it's not that it can be left undone. They have to maybe stay back to get those mails replied. They may have to stay back to attend to that conference call. So when they are attending your meeting, make sure that it counts. Make sure you ask the right question. Make sure you have the agenda as per the escalations that is popping up now and then, the kind of problem they are facing, the kind of interdepartmental issues that is popping up, because many a times it so happens that the escalation team gets stuck up because either the graphical user team is not cooperating, or they don't have a feedback and they are not relaying it properly. Maybe the database team is not cooperating properly. They are having an interdepartmental conflict and so on. So when you are heading the department, heading the organization, or heading any operation or any project, when you're conducting that meeting, when you're conducting it with the escalation team, you need to understand these are the fighters who are taking the heat from the customers. So you having them stuck up here in a meeting without an agenda is absolute loss of the man hour, is an absolute wastage of their skill set, and it's absolute wastage of your time also, because you need to do something productive to make your contribution count. Now with that, I remember like when you are conducting this meeting, the when, where, who and what needs to be considered, that's for sure. And the agenda has to be sure, taken for consideration. But when you are given that role of an organizer, what are the things that needs to be done? First thing is, even if you're a participant, when you're a participant, you might be thinking, well, I don't have to do anything. The organizer would be sending the email, they would be sending it, a reminder on the calendar. I would just add it up. I just need to be there. I have seen many a times, you wouldn't believe, whenever a meeting is being conducted, people have a very lethargic kind of look. They are walking around as if they are strolling in the garden, and they just go, see, their body language says that the meeting, they are going to take it as an opportunity to just relax back there, just hear what it is. They will not be sharing any feedback, they will not be asking any question, and it's just that since the meeting is being asked, I am joining. So see, that kind of attitude, that kind of body language, that kind of your I would say professional attitude is not really very contributive, and with that kind of attitude, I don't believe you would be growing much. So when you are attending a meeting as a participant, you need to do a lot of participation on your side also. Sorry about that, guys. I got a call. So when you are being the participant, right, when you are the participant, you need to prepare your own agenda which you are going to present in the meeting, the kind of problem that you are facing while you are working with the clients, the kind of challenges which you are facing with the other departments, and the kind of good work that you are doing also. The meetings are a great opportunity to share your small wins, and you might share your feedback also. Like the other day I did this steps, and the customer was very happy. The customer did send me an appreciation mail, which you might show it on a presenter, and this is also one way of showing what kind of contribution you're doing. So when you're a participant, doesn't matter who has called or who has organized the meeting. You need to understand, when you are being included in that meeting, you are being included to be contributive, because your feedback matters. That is the reason you are being included in the meeting, right? So when you are being included, make sure your presence counts. Make sure you are asking the right question. Make sure you are utilizing your time and the organizers and the speaker's time properly, right? Keep it short with a small agenda. Get your confusions cleared, and then what the management also feels is like, this is a guy who comes always prepared, and he has these questions because he's working on these issues, challenges, and he literally is looking forward to be very contributive, because he gets his doubts cleared in the meeting. He asks the right question. He even puts his own feedback if something is not to which something he is not agreeing. So, and the best part, you need to remember, when you are in the meeting is not like the marketplace where you go and negotiate the price of a product with the shopkeeper. You are there as a professional. Maintain that professional decency, maintain that decorum, and put your point forward in a very professional manner. You need to know when to agree to disagree also. If you do not like a point which is being discussed in the meeting also, you need to be very logically clear to put forward your point, like, okay sir, this is a point I understand, which obviously has popped up, but I have a different opinion and a feedback which I would like to present in front of you. I would like to hear feedback about my thought process, or the way I'm looking into the situation, because I want to clear my doubts. See, when you put forward in that manner, it's not like you're absolutely confronting or you are nullifying the opinion or the feedback which is being discussed in the meeting. What you're doing is you would be considered as somebody who's productive, who's adding up more feedback to the present situation to get a better picture. And you never know, your point might be considered much better than the point which is already being discussed in the meetings. That is the reason why meetings have been conducted. So whether you are an organizer, whether you are a participant, whether you are the speaker, everybody needs to have their own agenda, okay, in context to what the meeting is all about. Because when the organizer sends you that email or that message or that Google Calendar meet request, they need to mention the subject and the topics and the things that they are going to discuss. So according to that, if there are 5 points on which you find that only in one point you actually reconcile with your skill sets or your department or your work, well, you need to consider those points, and those you need to put forward those points. Well, if a sales meeting is conducted and you are being asked to join, if you are a technical support person, well, you don't need to say like, hey, I'm not looking into sales and this is not my domain, what am I supposed to do here? You are actually a part of this team, also the part of the organization, because you need to understand you are facing the client's problem, right? And the client has purchased the software or the hardware from your organization. So the kind of feedback that you're getting from the client while they are using the hardware and the software, if you are using those as a feedback and share it with the sales team, they would also understand the kind of problem. Then they also might reconcile with you. Yes, yes, I understand. The other day my client also saying something like this. So when they find a feedback coming from you, the technical team who's facing the client directly, the sales team also gets the clear idea about, they cannot also go and sell the cock and bull story, right? The thing is, they will also go to the market, tell the real kind of difficulty, the problem, or the challenges that might arise. And even if that kind of challenges arises, we have a great team to take care of it. So the sales team morale and the sales team confidence is boosted up by your feedback, because they find that if they face any problem or if their client asks them any technical question, they can always come back to you, because in the meeting you presented a technical viewpoint about the sales target or sales happening within the organization. So they come back to you, you give your feedback, and again, what you are doing is you are actually developing a healthy relationship among the other department. The sales team also needs to consider you guys who are taking care of the client escalation, clients problem much seriously, because these are the actual people who are being contacted by the customer for their problem. So when they work hand in hand, what happens is not only you build a healthy relationship within the department, you also grow, because you come up in the meeting or you come in front of the management as somebody who's contributive, as somebody who's giving feedback, as somebody who's learning, who is a point of contact wherein any other department can contact if they are facing any technical problem. So what you portray, or what you promote yourself as, is a leader. As a you might you might be surprised, because these are the skills that the management is also looking for. They just don't want you to do the technical stuff only. When you take care of the queries from other department, they find you as a suitable leader who would be able to like collaborate with the other department, coordinate with the other department, and get a work done. So when the next promotion comes up, or when the next IGP, internal job posting, comes up, you might be considered for the next position. So while you are in a meeting, be participant, be organizer, be the speaker. You always need to be very prepared. So meetings are a great way of boosting up the team morale, solving some complicated issues, and meeting duration depends on the kind of meeting which is happening. Like as I said, in 3 years of my stay with HP, I never had a 1 hour, a 2 hour, 3 hour meeting. We every day, instead we all every day we did a five meeting, 5 minutes, the team huddle, wherein we discuss. So the thing is, nothing was piling up. Every day everything was discussed, everybody was on the same page. Less of emails, less of points to remember. So everything was on the platform, on the same page, and everybody knew what was going on within the department. The result was very, very, very prominent. I mean, for 3 years, our team has been like my team. I had a team of 32 members. Our team was rewarded for consecutive 2 years. We were rewarded the best performing team for every quarters. My team members got lots of goodies, lots of recognition, lots of appreciation mail from their clients, and the team was always into a learning mode. That was what was happening with 5 minutes meeting. So guys, next time you conduct that meeting, please be there prepared, because when you go to a meeting being unprepared, it shows that you have taken that meeting and the organizer very casually, and a casual attitude from a professional is not really expected, right? So be that professional, be that prepared person, be that contributed leader, and I'm sure that you will grow heights in your careers. So I really appreciate everybody who's watching this. Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you, ma'am, for joining and encouraging me, motivating me. This is always great with all of you together. During the live sessions, it means a lot to me. Thanks a lot. So as I always mention, learn, contribute, and evolve. And with that, I would say that when you are growing, you need to help others also grow. The pandemic is happening. The COVID-19 situations are getting worse. So this is a time to stand next to each other. The other day, I was talking about being compassionate, being kind to the people who might be getting affected in your workplace or in your neighbors. So please be that considerate person. Show that support to your team, to your team members, to your subordinates, to your supervisors, and I'm sure that we will get through this very quickly. And I wish you all the good health. Take care of yourself and stay tuned to Career Counseling Online with the Morning Vibe session. Thanks a lot, guys, once again, and thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining me today. It's always great to have you us with you. Okay, take care for the day. Okay, bye bye. Take care.